I'm now going to be going over the answers to the simple genetics practice problems. So on this sheet, anywhere where I put a red dot means that what is the homozygous genotype, and anywhere I put the purple dot, it was the heterozygous genotype. So for number one, if it had two dominant alleles or two recessive alleles, it's homozygous. If there's one dominant and one recessive allele, it's heterozygous. So for number two, we were given the genotype and we had to determine the phenotype. So big P purple, big P little p white. Purple is dominant over white. Here, brown eyes are dominant over blue eyes. Big B brown, big B little b blue. Round is dominant over wrinkled. Big R round, big R round, little r wrinkled. Bobtails are recessive, so then that means that long tails are dominant. So big T is long tails, big T is long tails, and little t is bobtails. Number three, for each phenotype, list the genotypes. So remember to use the letter of the dominant trait. Big S is straight. Big, little, straight. Little, curly. Since the capital S and the lowercase s have a similar shape, in the lowercase, I put a line across the top of it because other than size, there's not anything to distinguish from it. So I just do it to make it easier to read. Pointed heads are dominant to round heads. Big P pointed. Big P little pointed. Little p round. Number four, set up the Punnett square for each of the crosses below. So big R, little r, little r, little r. Big R, little r, big R, little r. I set up the Punnett square for both of those. And it's dealing with the same traits where round is dominant over wrinkled. So in this case, the percentage of offspring that would be round is 50%. And here the percentage of offspring that would be round are 75%. Now for the next part is a continuation of that same problem type. Homozygous dominant with heterozygous. And the percent of round is 100%. So now here's practice with some of the crosses. So numbers 5 and 6 are both dealing with plant height. So a tall plant crossed with a short plant, big T, and little t. So here's the Punnett square that was set up, and 100% of them will be tall. Number 6, big T is crossed with big T little t. So that's crossing two heterozygotes. And here's the Punnett square for that. So the percentage of offspring that will be short is 25%. Numbers 7 and 8 together deal with the texture of the seed, so round versus wrinkled. Number 7, a heterozygous round-seeded plant, big R, little r, is crossed with a homozygous round-seeded plant, big R. What percentage of offspring will be homozygous, big R? So here's how we set up that cross, and 50% of them are homozygous dominant. Number 8, a homozygous round-seeded plant, so big R, is crossed with a homozygous wrinkled seeded plant, little r. It's also possible that you didn't even have to say homozygous, because just by saying it's wrinkled, there's only one genotype possible, which would be little r. So here's the cross. Here's how you set it up. And the percent that are homozygous is 0% because they're all heterozygous. Now, numbers 9, 10, and 11 all deal with the color of flowers. So purple is dominant over white. So here I also drew a line over the lowercase p because sometimes when we're writing fast, the lowercase p may look like the uppercase P. So in pea plants, purple flowers are dominant to white. So 2 white flowers would be little p. So here's the cross for that. And the percentage of white flowers you would get from that would be 100%. Number 10, a white flower, little p, is crossed with a plant that is heterozygous for the trait, so big P, little p. 50% are purple. Number 11, 2 plants, both heterozygous, so big P and big P, are crossed. So we have 75% purple and 25% white. Now, 12, 13, and 14 go together dealing with the length of hair on guinea pigs. And the allele for short hair is dominant over the allele for long hair. So the genotype for a heterozygous short-haired guinea pig is big S, little s. And again, I drew a line over here. Pure breeding is big. Long-haired is little. And here's the cross that we have. So homozygous dominant, homozygous recessive, and 50% would have short hair, which is in this case the dominant allele or the dominant trait. Number 14, show the cross for 2 heterozygous guinea pigs. So here are the 2 heterozygotes. And we have 75% that would be short and 25% that would be long. So now, in question 15, 2 short-haired guinea pigs are mated several times. Out of 100 offspring, 25 of them have long hair. So that means that they would have the genotype little s, because that's the 2 recessives. And then the remainder, which is 75, have short hair. They could be homozygous dominant or they could be heterozygous. What are the probable genotypes of the parents? So if we go back to this page, we've seen some problems where we're dealing with 75-25, 75-25, and the thing that's the same about this, 75-25, we're crossing 2 heterozygotes. And here when we get 75-25, we're crossing 2 heterozygotes. So here again, we see 25 are long. That means that the rest, which is 75, are short. So we must have crossed 2 heterozygotes. Big S, little s, big S, little s. And if you check it out with the Punnett square, that is in fact what you would get. And that's it.